vocal races of modern humans.
The most important missing link of all, of course, is the missing link between an ape-like ancestor and mankind. That's the missing link that most of us are interested in. Have we found that? Well, if you listen to Darwinists, you'd think that we found lots of them. In fact, the evidence really isn't there at all. All of the fossils that have been found so far have been classified, reclassified, either as human or as ape.
If we analyze the so-called missing links, we find a trail of fraud, deception, and speculation. For example, Nebraska man was reconstructed, family and all, from an extinct pig's tooth. Piltdown man is now universally known to be a deliberate hoax, consisting of an ape's jaw and a human skull, doctored to look old.
Piltdown, a quaint village in England, was hailed as the missing link between apes and humans. It was named Piltdown Man. Later, it would be called a forgery and set off a storm of scandal.
The scientific world was in an uproar. The public was scandalized. Were monkeys being made out of the scientists?
Neanderthals were just plain people, some of which suffered from arthritis, rickets, or syphilis. Ramapithecus, Gigantopithecus, and Zyganthropus were just apes, while Heidelberg man and Cro-Magnon were completely. So, despite evolutionists' misleading claims, the missing link is still missing.
Her name is Ida. She's 47 million years old, and you're looking at one of our ancestors. She is, according to scientists, a direct relative. Ida and her descendants evolved into humans. Since Darwin, mankind has been looking for the missing link, the primate that's at the root of our creation. And this is she.
Now people can say, okay, you say we're primates, like monkeys and apes, and that we came from very simple, generalized mammals. Show us the link. The link, they would have said, until now, is missing. Well, it is no longer missing.
There is a lot of excitement tonight in the world of science over a find that scientists are saying walked the Earth more than 4 million years ago. Our chief science correspondent, Robert Bazell, has more on the female creature called Ardi, who may be our oldest known relative.
Dave Phillips is professor of paleontology at the Master's College. He discusses that among the bones that have been found, there is a great lack of articulated or complete skeletons.
These remains are almost always highly fragmentary. We don't find nice, neat, articulated skeletons. You find little teeny fragments remains, perhaps a part of a jaw or mandible. Or you might find a piece of a limb bone, or you might find a few fragmentary bones from one individual skull. When it comes to the alleged sequence of human remains said to demonstrate evolution, we find this completely wanting. We do not find the intermediate forms necessary to document that.
The only evidence at hand is generally nothing more than a few skull fragments or a tibia. The hair, skin, nose, ears, lips, or other facial features of a living being cannot be determined from its bone remains. Evolution has shaped these soft tissues, which leave no trace in the fossil, to suit the purposes of their theory, and produce imaginary reconstructions in their workshops. Ernest Houghton from Harvard University states that these drawings have no scientific value. You can, with equal facility, model on a Neanderthaloid skull the features of a chimpanzee or the lineaments of a philosopher. These alleged restorations of ancient types of man have very little, if any, scientific value and are likely only to mislead the public.
Darwin wrote, "Intermediate links? Geology assuredly does not reveal a finely graduated organic chain, and this perhaps is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory."
Darwin was aware that the fossil record did not contain any of these hypothetical intermediate forms. This is why he devoted a special chapter to this in his book and posed these troubled questions. Why, if species have descended from other species by fine gradations, do we not everywhere see innumerable transitional forms? But as by this theory, innumerable transitional forms must have existed, why do we not find them embedded in countless numbers in the crust of the Earth? For instance, a 400-million-year-old shark and a modern shark have exactly the same structure. Similarly, there is no difference between a 100-million-year-old ant and a modern ant, a 135-million-year-old dragonfly and a modern dragonfly, a 100-million-year-old turtle and a modern turtle, or a 55-million-year-old bat and a modern bat.
According to most biology textbooks, fossils show the gradual development of life from simple to complex over hundreds of millions of years. But a growing number of scientists say that this textbook story is incomplete and even misleading because it ignores an extraordinary event in the history of life known as the Cambrian explosion.